What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, you're watching TWA Motorsports, and in today's video, we're going to talk about what sold and what is in the shop. Now, it's a little bit of clickbait, but we're going to talk about what sold first, and then I'll show you what's in the shop now. And no, it's not Cohen's car. Cohen's car has been in the basement. We've got it out here now, and that is because what we sold. Now, I didn't necessarily want to, well, okay, I wanted to sell this car, but I didn't necessarily want to sell it right now. I would have rather like the dually back here sold. It did not sell. The green truck, as you can see, is still up here. It has not sold. And we got the C10 behind us. And the reason we did some swapping is we took the C10 to a car show. The reason Cohen's car is out here, however, is because the Camaro is what I sold. So I told Cohen, I was like, hey, you could go ahead and put your car back under the lift and out here. That way he can put his new to him truck in the garage. And so that's what he did yesterday. He's been working on that thing a little bit at a time, trying to get it nicer. And, but yes, guys, the Camaro did sell. Here's the downside. I still have the black wheels. I was so bummed. I was hoping, you know, a lot of people like the black wheels. The black wheel craze, I call it. I hate them. And so I was trying to talk the guy in that bought it to like, hey, you sure you don't want to swap out the torque thrust for the black wheels? So now I'm gonna have to do something different. I am not running those black wheels on the Trans Am. And guys, we're kind of filming out of sequence. I've got some stuff going on with the Trans Am back here that you may or may not see. And honestly, the other thing I'm gonna show you that's in the shop now kind of has snuck in a video before this. So you may or may not have noticed. But anyway, yeah, I've got the black wheels now. The guy was super nice that bought the Camaro. He's excited to have it. I actually texted him. As I'm filming this, I sold it yesterday, and the day before that, and I sent him a text. I was like, hey, have you ripped on it a bunch? And he said, I'm loving this car. So anyway, he didn't take the black wheels, even though I tried to coax him into taking the black wheels. Now, he did make an offer to buy the black wheels also, but a little less than I think they're worth. So anyway, we're gonna have to do something with the black wheels. But what is in the shop that I'm kind of triggering or clickbaiting you on? Well, guys, the OBS is back. My painter knocked it out stupid fast. You guys know how paint goes. My painter reached out to me and was like, hey, can you have it to me in 2 days? That is when we did that strip down video where we took all the paneling and stuff off. Well, not much. We just had to take, I wanted to clean all this up. We cleaned the jams out and we took the cowl off because he painted that area. But kind of exciting, right? To have this back in the shop. I don't know why it's exciting, because there's a ton of stuff I want to do to it. So I'm going to kind of talk about some of the stuff that I want to do. But we've had the bed back there. We've kind of got stuff cobbled in here. I'm not ready to put the bed back on it yet. And that's what I'm going to talk about, what my plans are here. And it's just like everything else. It's going to be slow. And it's just going to happen as money comes in, honestly, guys, because we got a lot of stuff going on. This stuff isn't cheap, and the stuff I want to do to this is not cheap. And now that we've got this thing painted, you know, I want to do it right. I want to make it nice. I went back and forth. I wasn't going to paint the cab, and then I decided to. And so let's talk about some of the stuff that happened when he did the cab. So had a couple dings in the rockers, but the rockers were solid. Cab corners were solid. No rust on this truck. But as far as the back, he shaved the third brake light. Remember, we put a new third brake light in, but I had him shave that. I wanted to get rid of that completely. The other thing he did was it had some stereo holes from speakers in the back. He filled that, obviously. And he didn't buff back here on the back after he painted it. And honestly, I don't really care, because you'll never see that. And it looks, I mean, the paint's brand new, but he's like, I just didn't spend a lot of time buffing there. And I get it, you know, not a big deal. The other thing I did, though, is before he painted it, I had a glass guy come out and take the front and rear glass out of this truck, because I wanted new glass. The front glass, actually, my glass guy said it was a really cheap piece of glass. The trim was all faded and looked like crap. So not only did we get new glass, but we got new side trim and new rubber trim to go all the way around. Same thing on the back. Now, my back glass wasn't in terrible shape, but it had some scratches from people scraping off stickers and whatnot. And to be honest with you guys, when you get to a point where you're doing this much work, you know, the back glass in these trucks are like 130 bucks, I think. Is it worth it to try to skimp on 130 bucks when you can have a brand new piece of glass that fits great? I don't think so. So yes, we did get new front and rear glass while it was actually before I even drove it or got it home. Now, me and Cam, you guys remember, we drove this thing out here and it scrubbed the crap out of the front tires. So I actually picked it up on the trailer. And one of these tires, by the way, we noticed is mounted backwards. The one on the other side. But okay, so what are the plans on this truck now? And why am I not just going to throw it back together and get it on the road? Well, here's some of the stuff that I'd like to do. I want to paint the frame with the POR 15, similar to what I did on the dually, but I don't necessarily love this flip kit and I don't love this rear suspension. So what I would really like to do, and the plan is to either do a Ridetech kit or an OBS Racing rear suspension kit. So we get rid of the leaf springs altogether. Now, the ups and downs to both of those are, okay, so this truck has a C-notch already in it, obviously, because it's got a flip kit. The downside, though, is they welded in a bolt-in C-notch. Now, the welds aren't real pretty, and I would have my buddy, like, make those look way nicer. Because they welded it in and the Ridetech kit is a bolt-in different notch, I would have to cut that notch off and put the Ridetech one in. And honestly, I would rather weld around the Ridetech one, but it means I have to take this notch off, which could be kind of a pain. It's not that bad around the ledges, and they didn't weld the inside, which is good. But what they did do is all the holes where it was supposed to bolt on, because this was a bolt-on notch, they rosette welded. So I would have to drill that out. I don't necessarily think that would be I mean, it's going to take some time, but it's not undoable, okay? If I do the Ridetech kit, I'm going to have to take those notches out and use the Ridetech notches, because that is how their stuff mounts. The Ridetech kit has a wishbone piece here that bolts up front. That comes with a bracket, bolts up here, bolts around the rear end, and then does away with your leaf springs, and you have an arm that goes here. That is the way I'm leaning. They're about the same price, either kit. Now, the OBS Racing kit would allow me to keep the notches that I have, and it comes with a bracket that bolts the coilover back here, similar to the Ridetech. The only difference is it comes with a billet piece, a billet flip, and then a billet piece that goes on the rear end, and then it has similar to a torque arm that comes up and mounts here, and then a panhard rod. So there's more going on. I don't know. I'm back and forth. I really like, and I've heard really good things about the Ridetech rear kit, but that is some stuff that I want to do before I put the bed back on. And obviously, if I do that, I want to paint this, take out this crappy, I don't even know what kind of muffler that is, and kind of make it a little nicer back here. Maybe clean up the gas tank and coat it. I don't necessarily want to do a motor swap and stuff right now, even though I'd like to down the road. But just cleaning this up and doing a different suspension setup in the back. Okay, so on to the front. What I would like to do is, these trucks are notorious for when you drop them, the inner fenders rub. Now, when I had him paint those inner fenders, which I have all the parts here now painted, they're in the house. I had him roll the inner fenders. Now, I rolled them, but then he hammered them and painted them, so they look nice. I think we'd probably be okay running what's here, but the front suspension sucks, and well, the steering sucks. And so I'm back and forth on a steering rack. You guys know my complaint with these OBS trucks is, and every truck for that matter that has a steering box, is I hate steering boxes. And everybody I've talked to says that, you know, like red top or blue top are good. I just don't know, guys. I know it's never going to be as good as a rack, so I've been back and forth. I know Elevated Custom makes a rack, and now Flaming River makes a rack. I tend to lean more towards the Elevated Custom because it's been tested. I don't know. The Flaming River rack is quite a bit more expensive than the Elevated Custom. I've heard good and bad, but I think I want to do a rack. And so if I do a rack, I want to do stone fab upper and lower A-arms, which will
they take 1.5 inches off each side that brings it in. And then they also make a a sway bar, and then go into a different spindle. These are DJM spindles, which technically I could probably leave, especially if I suck the front wheels in. The DJM ones, they say pushes it out about 1/4 inch, Beltec about 1/2 inch, and React spindles is what everybody's been running, and they don't move the track width at all. So I just don't know that it's worth, those are expensive, about $400 to mount the stock brakes on the Reacts, whereas I could technically use the ones that I have, which are new. Remember, I did a video where I put this all together differently when I did the brakes, and I, you know, kind of rebuilt the front suspension. So that's kind of my plan here, and then just kind of doing a cleanup on the engine bay and whatnot. I really, guys, don't want to do a motor swap right now. I've got too much going on to do a motor swap. So that's kind of my plan on the front, I think, before we go back together with the front. And then before I put the doors on, I've talked to a couple of upholstery shops about doing a leather wrap on the dash. You guys know these dashes suck in these things. They're always cracked. You can see mine's got a couple cracks. It's got one here, and then it's got another one on the other side. But I've talked to a person about doing a leather wrap. I don't want to do a cap like the dash skins. I don't want to do that because they set a little thick on the sides. So I'd really like to do something different. So before I do that, in my opinion, it would be easier to access getting the dash in and out of this thing if it didn't have seats, which are 4 bolts, and the doors on. So I think I'll wait on that. But there's some other stuff I can be doing. Like I said, guys, it's going to be a slow process because it's something that I'm not, I don't have the cash to do all this at one time right now, and I sure don't have the time. But we'll just work on it a little bit at a time like everything else out here. So it's kind of fun to switch between projects from time to time. You know, when you get a little bored maybe on the OBS, you flip over to the Trans Am, and when you get bored on the Trans Am, you flip over to something else. I don't know. Next thing will be Cohen's truck, I guess. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this little, sorry I had to clickbait you a little bit as far as you thought I maybe got a new vehicle on the channel. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this small little update, and hopefully you're excited to see the OBS back in action. I know I went back and forth, but we are keeping it now. It is going to stick around. The green truck probably will end up sticking around as well. I don't know. I've still got it for sale. Like I said, I'm trying to free up some cash for something else, but the Camaro helped. The dually is still going to be sold. It's still here though. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please, like always, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are not subscribed, go down, hit that subscribe button. Of course, like always, ring that bell notification. That will notify you every single time we drop a new video. And stay tuned to see what we do next.